Hello, I'm Get the Cans, and it's been a while since I've made a video. Unfortunately, with the economic situation that's been going around, I've been unable to justify putting a few minutes aside to record some, words of nothing from a voice in the void to put out there on the webs. But fortunately, there's been a lot of good videos out there and people speaking out, especially those from the inside, which I would definitely say is much more important than simply somebody from the outside who has not necessarily gone through the experiences that these poor people have had to go through. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the skepticism in light of all of these stories in question. Now, in order to become a good critic, according to certain people out there, you need to go through what these people go through to understand the technology, or to at least take a few courses in Scientology, which is, of course, a load of crap. Now, whether these people are trolls or not is beside the point. The fact is that there are people out there who are claiming that the only way to be critical of an organization is to be subject to the torture that it gives people. I don't necessarily agree with that at all. I agree that the organization in question is very dangerous in that it will warp you and it will destroy the person that you were and make you into a person that you are not in order to further its own goals. Now, the reason that I say that you do not have to be subject to the torture in order to be able to understand it is simply because there's just so much information coming out of an organization that it gives that there should be some weight put behind the idea that it is a bad organization where, yes, there is forced abortions, yes, there is child slave labor, yes, there is psychological torturing called ethics, and there is things out there where they basically treat people like garbage in the rehabilitation project force, RPF, for months and months and months and months. And there is a situation where the top management is being encouraged to become overly violent and zealot, insane people, where they just basically physically abuse people. The reason that there's weight behind those is simply because of all the independent sources of information that have basically no reason to back each other up. And they're not even backing each other up. They're simply telling the same story, but they're telling it from their own perspective. And although you could come up with any number of reasons of why that might be, the fact is that one of my favorite analogies is that I don't necessarily have to be hit by a train to see the damage that it would do. If I see the train plowing through a car and smashing it into a million different pieces, I can know that you can only imagine what it would do to a human being like me if I got into its way. So what the point that I'm making here is that it isn't necessary to destroy yourself in order to really be able to understand what these people went through after they were essentially destroyed, their families and their friends, cut off from them. All the good memories that they have are basically just these really isolated and faded, things that their entire life was basically Scientology, and Scientology is a cold and cruel organization indeed, where they basically focus on this idea that they know everything and that they're perfect and that that they should rule the world and things like this. It's a totalitarian organization, and it is much like the mafia in how it reacts to the people that are in the organization, and also to the people who are outside of the organization that oppose it. And although I do agree that there should be some skepticism to the evidence as to exactly what makes this organization up and the kind of stories that come out of it, unfortunately, you should still, at least if you are skeptical of this, at least consider the weight of it, in that it merits more investigation if it isn't enough for you to buy into what the claim is in the first place. It definitely would consider more investigation. Is this some grand conspiracy? Well, first of all, I can tell you that no, it is not a grand conspiracy. Is it just, coincidence? Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's not a coincidence, simply because you just can't make that kind of stuff up and have it all accidentally work together. I mean, the fact is, it's a dangerous organization because people come out and say that it's dangerous. People who are on the inside, people who are standing outside, who are being treated like they were the worst people in the world, and the kind of stories that I've heard about this organization, what it's trying to do to the people who are against it, it's simply amazing and ridiculous at the same time. But the thing is, I wouldn't want anyone out there to simply think that they shouldn't, that they're wrong for being against an organization just because they don't understand the technology. The fact is there's enough evidence out there that it isn't necessary to understand the technology in order to be against it. The fact is, all you have to know is that even if you're not a Scientologist, you can be against the mob. They would kill you for your money, and they would destroy your credit rating if they could get a hold of it, just so they can drain every cent out of it. They would use every resources they could in order to better themselves, because they don't give a crap about you because they're the mob. Now, because they're the mob, you could probably be against them. Oh, it's the mob. It's a criminal organization. But, when it comes to the so-called Church of Scientology, people suddenly take a step back. It's like, wait, this is a church. And it's like, no, that's a word that they use to defend themselves, and they came up with that a long time ago. It's one of their main defenses that they use. So just because they call themselves a Church of Scientology doesn't necessarily mean you can't still oppose them the same way you would oppose any dangerous organization that would cause, that would at least be dangerous to, if not you, then definitely the people around you, your neighborhood, your county, your country, your wherever you happen to live. And it's definitely worth considering. The stories that come out, even if you aren't buying into it completely, should still investigate more into it without having to feel bad that you're a bad person for buying into this. But anyways, I think I've said enough about this whole situation, and I would hope that, and I've made enough of an impression that some people out there may be more willing to be against the organization if they were against, if they would normally be inclined, without the doubt of having to have gone through what they went through in order to, having gone through what the ex-Scientologists went through in order to be able to be a proper, to be a proper critic of the organization. So, keep on keeping on, and it's been about 2 years now, so hopefully there's more and more, ex-Scientologists and ex-CO members talking out so we can, do some more damage to this organization, and, hopefully save a few more people from having their lives completely ruined. All right? This is Get the Cans, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.